Good morning. That lighting is terrible. Don't know how we can fix that, but we're just gonna have to go. This is fairly unplanned live stream, but I have something to say that I think is gonna be super helpful to many of you. Just bear with me while I share inside my group. If you're not in my group, make sure that you come on in there. It is called Secret Coaches Business. And tomorrow I'm running a free training, a free masterclass at 10 o'clock in the morning, Melbourne time, on how to sell your coaching services with ease and grace. So if you feel like you need that in your life, then make sure that you come along and get yourself signed up to Secret Coaches Business. All right, just getting ready to share. This live stream was prompted by a conversation that I just had with a client, as many of them are. All right, sharing. My internet is driving me crazy, but I believe we're getting broadband to the curb next month, so that would be fabulous. All right, away we go. All right, so today I want to talk to you about keeping really strong boundaries when a client wants to not take responsibility for their decisions. So I just got off the phone with, off Zoom with a client who signed on with me 2 weeks ago, and 2 weeks ago we met for coffee, just because she was reasonably local, and we went and we caught up for coffee, and we had a big long conversation. We spent maybe an hour together, maybe a little bit more. And I had met this person at a networking event, and which is totally fine. These are details that really don't matter. Anyway, so at the end of the conversation, she agreed that she'd really like to work together with me on my 5K formula program, which is great. It's a great program. I do push the people that come onto that program hard. And I made that very, very clear. It's not for the faint-hearted, because I'm going to ask you to get pretty uncomfortable. Because at the end of the day, right, if you are coming from selling one-off coaching sessions and then you go ahead and all of a sudden you're selling a $5,000 coaching package, these things aren't just going to fall in your lap. It's going to take some effort, right? So I push my clients pretty hard on that program. And we get about 2 weeks in. Today was our third phone call, or our third session, and this person came onto the call and was basically, I didn't want to start and you pressured me to sign up and you said this, and I'm like, whoa, no. And because I know I didn't. This is a person that's just overwhelmed, got too much going on. And I said to her, I'm going to stop you right there. You're an adult, you're a grown person. You made an educated decision at the time, and then you went away and you had plenty of time to make a different decision before I invoiced you, and then the invoice went back to you, and then you had time to pay your account. And so there was plenty of opportunity for her to step outside of that decision at any time, and that's totally fine. But to come onto a call and basically, because they're overwhelmed and perhaps hadn't done the work or whatever it was, and they're feeling, they're getting to the pointy end of the program and they're starting to freak out, but to come on and say, they were pressured into signing up for the program and all the rest of it. Now, back once upon a time when I was a new coach, I just would have felt like, oh my God, what have I done wrong? But now I understand this for what it is. And what it is somebody that's uncomfortable with doing the work, somebody that when they're pushed to really actually go for what they say they want, and they realize that they're actually not equipped to do it, or they just don't have the willingness to do it. I understand that now. I never used to, and that stuff would have knocked me sideways. And so that's why I'm sharing it with you guys, because I know that some of you are still in your, the earlier coaching phases, or where your business isn't that established, or maybe you're still in that space. Because I think it took me a few years to work this out, that a lot of the time that people that aren't doing the work, and people who are, they feel they've made the wrong decision, the first thing they're going to do is point it at the coach and say, you made me sign up when I wasn't really ready, or you made me do this, and there's no responsibility being taken. And so, as I said to this person, you are an adult, you made an educated decision, and you need to take responsibility for that decision. I'm still here. I still showed up today. I did everything that I said I was going to do. The fact that you're not holding up your end of the bargain is fully and completely your responsibility. It's not mine. I'm happy to continue to work with you and find a way to make this happen. But this decision is yours and you need to take responsibility for it. And then I said to this person, so how would you feel if a coaching client did this to you? If you had taken, because I work with coaches, if you took on a coaching client and then halfway through the session, or they turn up on the third session and they say, you know what, I think I've made a decision and it's your fault. She said, well, I would treat them very differently. And I said, really? You would let somebody walk all over your boundaries, even though you were really clear about them in the beginning? And so this client has a little bit of work to do, on her. This is not personal. The coach is an amazing person. She's a lovely, lovely, lovely person, and I know is a great coach. So it's not personal at all. This is purely about boundaries, and it's about taking responsibility for your decisions. And I've had this a lot over the years, where somebody might sign up to something and then they start defaulting on the payments, and then one of my group programs or something like that, and they will be pursued for the payment, and they'll be like, well, I haven't got time for this because my car's been repossessed and my nana's sick and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, well, how's that my fault? It's like, I understand, I get it, but coming at me with resentment and being pissed off because you're actually being held accountable to the commitment you made is not my problem, And so a lot of coaches will take it really personally, and you can't take it personally. You have to just see it for what it is. And a lot of the time it's your clients have made, they're not doing the work, typically is what it's about. And when they're not doing the work, they feel resentful and they feel pissed off, or, potentially if you're in the business coaching space like I am, they expected that a miracle was going to occur and that, the coach was going to swoop in and save them in their business and just, deliver $5,000 coaching packages to them. It doesn't work like that, people. You've got to be prepared to do the work. You've got to be prepared to take action. You've got to be prepared to get uncomfortable. Thanks, Isha. I know you know what I'm talking about because you did the work. Isha came along and did the 5K Formula program with me, and she sold 4 $5,000 coaching packages in the first 4 weeks. So when you do the work and you give yourself fully to the work, you get the job done and you receive reward for that. Isha's just said, you're offering a wonderful opportunity by talking about self-responsibility. Yeah, thanks, sweetie. Yeah, and it is about self-responsibility. I've signed up for things that I haven't followed through on or I haven't got a result from, but I'm not going to go back to the coach or the person that I bought the program from and said, this program doesn't work. You high pressure sold me into this situation, and it's your fault, it's your fault, it's your fault. I'm never going to do that. I'm always going to point the finger at myself first and say, you know what? I got caught up in the hype and I made a decision that maybe I shouldn't have, and that's something I need to look at. Or, the program's not what I thought it was going to be, but you know what? You live and you learn, right? Turn up and stop blaming others. Totally, Nicole. You understand. And yeah, I probably don't need to rave on too much more about it, but just that exact thing, it's like if you make a commitment to somebody, because at the end of the day, when I take on a coaching client for the 5K Formula for Coaches program, it's 4 weeks of intense work. So when I say yes to a client, I'm saying no to somebody else. And so when somebody decides halfway through, you know what, I am too busy to do this. I'm busier than I thought I was going to be and I just don't have the time. It's like, I don't know about you, but I don't invest $5,000 into a program and then decide I don't have enough time to do it. I'm going to make an educated decision, a weighed and measured decision about that. And then if I get in there and it's like, oh shit, this is taking more time than I thought it was going to take, I'm still going to find a way to make it work because I made the commitment. And you know, I was speaking to another coach yesterday who is in the martial arts space. She's a lady I've known for a long time. And we were having a conversation about, I don't know if it's, you know, our age. Yeah, that's right, Nicole. Totally. You know, we take responsibility for those decisions. And the coach that I was speaking to yesterday, maybe it's our age. You know, I'm 50. I believe this coach is a little bit older than me, or maybe about my age or something like that. And, you know, we know as well in the martial arts space that people are, you know, they're usually a little bit more disciplined, but she's been struggling with that too. And, yeah, I don't know. I'm very clear about my expectations of my clients up front. I'm really super clear. I don't think anyone's ever going to be surprised by when they sign up. It's like, okay, it's game on and now I'm going to have you working hard. No one's ever been shocked by that. You know, if you've been in my world for a little while, you know, it's like I push people. Isha said, you're so committed to your clients, Michelle. I got so much support over the 5K formula. You worked as hard as I did. Thank you. Yeah, I do, because I take that responsibility really seriously. It's like my aim is you need to get a return on investment at the very least. And that's why I do work so hard, because I never want to be a coach that's accused of just coasting. You know, if somebody, I take it very seriously. I was a coach for a long time that if I invested big money in something, it needed to return on investment, and nothing ever freaking did. And like Isha said, you know, she said in 16 years of business, the programs and the coaching that she's done with me has been her first return on investment. You know, that's incredible. And after all those years, so I know there are many, many coaches out there who you're just not getting a return on investment. And, you know, sometimes it happens. You know, sometimes clients can come on board and, you know, the result isn't as instantaneous as I would like, but it's not through any fault of my own. You know, I know, hand on heart, it's not, because I do give as much as my clients do. I work as hard as they do, and I am like a dog with a bone about making sure they get a return on investment. And sometimes I do push a little bit hard, because it's like I seem to have more of an attachment to them getting a return on investment than they do a lot of the time. And it's like, okay, I need to calm down. It's not such a priority for this person. For example, you know, I have coaches that are very successful in businesses outside of coaching, and they're coming in to become coaches because they've created success. And so they don't need to get a fast return on investment because they're already making good money in their other business. But I'm still like, I need to hurry up and get it. And they're like, it's totally fine. And sometimes, you know, we can take a little bit longer to map things out and create like a massive strategy and then start to work it, instead of a hard and fast, big return on investment really quickly, which is the 5K formula for coaches. Anyway, I wanted to keep this one short, so I'm going to wrap it up. But yeah, if you are ever in that situation where you have a client that comes along and they start pointing the finger at you and saying, you know, you pressured me into selling, you know, to signing up, or mostly that, you know, or, you know, I thought that the program was going to be this, but it's ended up being this, when you know that it's exactly what you promised. It's exactly the way that you mapped it out. And that's super important, you know, making sure that you're really clear. So with this particular person, like I always do, because we met in person, the actual initial call wasn't recorded, but usually on Zoom, they're all recorded. Then I send a scope of a client agreement, an agreed scope. And so I map out everything. This is exactly what I'm going to do and how I'm going to do it. This is exactly what you're committing to. Like, there are so many details in there, so that if this sort of thing happens and the client goes back, they're going to say, oh, actually I got everything that she promised and more, because I typically always over deliver. And so I want to always make sure that's watertight. I never promise anything I'm not going to deliver. It is all 100%, you know, legitimate. It's in laminated, you know what I mean? It's like, I make sure it's spelled out, and that they sign off on that and they agree on that. So I know that I am not responsible for, you know, this situation that went on today. And so I want you to have that same level of conviction, because it can rock you. It really can. If somebody says, you know, you pressured me to sign up, or I thought I was getting this, but it's something completely different. But when really it's the client basically saying, I'm uncomfortable with doing the work, or I'm not doing the work, or it's not as easy as I thought it was going to be. And see it for what it is. Hold firm with those boundaries. Stand strong. Know that you are in integrity, and don't let anyone push you around, and don't let anybody trample all over your boundaries, because if you do that one time, you're just opening the door to do it more and more and more, and we just don't want to do that. As coaches, you know, our integrity is everything, our word is everything, and so we always want to make sure that we are in integrity the whole time. You know, I don't ever want to be accused of high pressuring anybody into anything, because I actually don't need the sale. Do you know what I mean? So I don't need to pressure anybody into anything. And I never want to be accused of, well, I signed up for this and it was something completely different. You know, I am, and I guess I'm like this because I've been in the game for such a long time, and I've seen these bullshit excuses come up over and over and over again. And then, you know, at some point you realize, hang on, this is actually not me, it's them. And, you know, you always do the reflection, your own reflection first, but then it's like, yeah, it actually is I am, you know, because I go through and I'm like, hang on, did I give everything that I, you know, and I always run everything through that first to make sure that I'm covered. And I will always hold strong on my boundaries, because they're really important, and so should you. Anyway, if you're not in my Secret Coaches business group, get yourself signed up. If you're on my business page, just click the banner, because it's hooked up. And if you're in the group, you're already in the group. So keep yourself peeled for tomorrow morning's free masterclass, which is at 10 o'clock in the morning, Melbourne time. I will have the workbook to you first thing in the morning. And it is a 1-hour masterclass on selling your coaching services with grace and ease. And it's going to be run via live stream inside the group. You will be able to access it afterwards, because it'll just be under the units tab if you can't make the live, but try to make the live call, because then you can ask me questions. All right, guys, I've got Muay Thai soon, so I'm going to go kick and punch Andy, probably cop a couple myself, but that's okay, that's part of the fun, and I'll be back tomorrow. Big love. Bye.